XRP is falling off a cliff right now, and in this video, we're going to talk about what's going on in the market and where XRP needs to hold to stop the bleeding. Like always, your support means so much to this channel. Thank you to everyone who takes the time to like these videos and subscribe to the channel. These two simple things really do help me out so much. Also, if you have any good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my favorite exchange upload down in the description of this video. With that said, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So I want to start this video off and talk about something a little bit outside of price, just to get some bullish news in the air, because obviously right now is not a great time in the cryptocurrency market, but for those of you who've been around, you're probably used to it. We're going to talk about the XRP price chart. Make sure to stick around for this whole thing, but the first thing I want to talk about is something pretty interesting. This was a discussion that was just brought to light that I thought was super interesting. This is someone actually interviewing Robbie Mitchnick, the head of digital assets at BlackRock, former Ripple employee, talking about the XRP ETF. Guys, from my perspective, BlackRock will not be able to not launch an XRP ETF. They're going to Ripple Swell. They already have the partnership with Ripple now on the new tokenized money market fund. Now we're looking at a situation where the head of digital assets at BlackRock is now being pushed and pressured to essentially go forward with the XRP ETF. The demand for XRP is too high for BlackRock to be able to ignore an ETF. I want to play you this clip because what you're about to see is this is not something BlackRock is going to be able to get away from. And I think you can judge by his answer, right? Someone who used to work at Ripple, someone who understands the utility, BlackRock having multiple partnerships with Ripple at this point, working on different initiatives. When you hear his criteria for what kind of ETFs they want to work with, and when you hear the question on how it's phrased, guys, I think a BlackRock ETF is inevitable. Listen up to this.
I have actually publicly predicted that BlackRock would file for a spot XRP ETF and a spot Solana ETF, which you have not yet done. And again, I'm not expecting you to comment on that at all. But what I will ask you is, how is BlackRock thinking about future product development around crypto-related ETFs? Because you have had these two massive success stories with IBIT and Ether. So certainly that has to have your attention. But what about moving forward?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of factors that go into that decision-making process, obviously, but the biggest driver ultimately is our clients, right? What is the level of investor demand? What is the logic and investment thesis for investors and for our clients around these potential products? What problem are we solving for them? And so when we think about other potential opportunities in this space, obviously we're looking at things like market cap, liquidity, maturity, but also clarity of investment thesis and overall sort of product and portfolio considerations in terms of how clients long-term are going to be able to use products in this space, build the types of portfolio exposures holistically that they want. And so that's a constant evaluation process. It's not a fixed point in time thing, but ultimately that's the kind of process that we deploy.
So guys, in my opinion, he makes it clear there that XRP ETFs, he makes it clear there that the Bitcoin ETFs and the ETH ETFs are not going to be the last ETFs that BlackRock launches. It seems to me very clear he's leaving the door open for future ETFs on the important qualifier that these tokens that they're creating ETFs for have demand and utility. XRP is one of the few digital assets over the last couple of months that's actually outpacing Bitcoin in popularity. People want XRP, especially because of the US Nexus. They like the utility. BlackRock is working with Ripple already. They see the utility of the XRP ledger. That is obvious. But when you couple that with the fact that they're speaking at Ripple Swell, it just seems so obvious to me that XRP ETF is going to be on the way from BlackRock. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you because the more BlackRock gets pushed on this, the more they start to hear about it, the more they see the investor demand, the more it's going to pop up. For me, the investor demand for XRP is clear. You have institutions lining up to file these XRP ETFs. You also have the clear Google Trends data that shows XRP as a leading cryptocurrency, even in compared to Bitcoin in the market. Personally, I think it's inevitable, and I think the public pressure, the interviews, bringing it up, that's only going to make it more certain. I just wanted to share this quick with you as well, just to show how mainstream XRP is going. This is Wall Street Bets. Yes, Wall Street Bets, the official account saying XRP, the token everyone loved to hate, is suddenly outperforming thanks to check notes, actual network upgrades, and regulatory tailwinds. What a time to be alive. And guys, this is exactly what I'm talking about. People are actually looking for things that make sense. People are actually looking for utility. People are actually looking for cryptocurrencies that make sense in the market. We're moving away from this era of, oh, well, this is interesting. This is funny. A lot of people are buying this. I'm going to buy it. That's not how institutions are going to think. And not to say that Wall Street Bets is some kind of institution, but to see that kind of level of notoriety and popularity, that attention is going to go to these providers, and these providers are going to say, everyone is asking us about XRP. We need a product ASAP. I've talked about this a couple of times on the channel. I don't think there's any scenario in which BlackRock is going to miss out on this. It doesn't make any sense. They're already late out the gate. They need to catch up. I expect the BlackRock XRP ETF to come before the end of the year. In my opinion, they are going to have to. Maybe Ripple Swell is where that gets announced. But guys, I don't see any way you're not going to see that get over the finish line. Too many partnerships, too many relationships. I think the SEC case delayed this. But guys, I think we are getting very close. And I think the investor demand for this is going to push it over the finish line, as well as BlackRock's already clear, obvious, and documented relationships with Ripple. With that said, I want to get into the price action and show you something really interesting right now. It looks like right now we are at a huge support for Bitcoin. And you're probably wondering, why does it matter if Bitcoin has support? Well, ultimately, Bitcoin is moving the market right now. Bitcoin had a sell-off, the entire market sold off. But what we see is Bitcoin is coming up to a very strong support level. Now, that's going to happen right at the 108 level, 109 level. And guys, it's also going to happen at around the 110 to 115 level for Bitcoin. Now, these levels right here are going to be very important for Bitcoin to sustain the rest of the market. And if we see right here, 110 and 108, 110 and 108 are going to be the levels to watch for Bitcoin right now, based off of where the volume is on buy orders on the exchanges. So there's a lot of buy orders at those levels. And if you match that up to the XRP price chart, we can see that right now XRP is at a critical moment as well. XRP is right at the bottom of this support. XRP has been stuck in this trend for a while, and it looked like XRP had the potential to break out this to the upside a couple times. Ultimately, it never had the power to do so, and it came back down to this support. Now it's just sitting on this support. We really need XRP to hold these levels if we're going to stay up at this $2.75, $2.80 support region. This is going to be the most important place for XRP to hold over the next couple days. Now, the long-term trend for XRP looks great. Obviously, we're still up at these much higher levels, but the current consolidation pattern, we're yet to get a breakout and we're pushing on the downside. So we really want to see XRP get sucked back up within this triangle and start pushing back on the support of this range. Now, guys, if you're new here, you need to understand that every single time XRP goes into a consolidation pattern, there's always these fake outs and scares. You can speculate on why that might happen, right? For example, right here, you can speculate on why that might happen. But a lot of people, including myself, think they're shakeouts, right? Large financial institutions are clearly stepping into this market. We spent the entire first half of this video talking about this, and they want to get cheap assets. These fake outs happen all the time, especially before next move upward. As you can see, we had a fake out here, we had a fake out there, and guys, it's very possible we have another fake out before we come back up and push out to the upside. Ultimately, we'll see what happens on this. The important level to hold right now is right where we're at. We could flash crash through it, get sucked back up and go higher. But guys, there is clearly people trying to shake people out of the market. Now, in my opinion, is this bearish for XRP? Are we in some kind of trend that we're going to be stuck in? Is the bull market over? Absolutely not. The market is way too bullish right now. There's way too many big developments, way too much money coming to this industry. And this is nothing more than short-term noise. Is it surprising that XRP wasn't able to break out and then got rejected? Honestly, I thought we were moving to the upside a little sooner. It seemed like to me all the positive catalysts coming in with the ETFs and all of that were going to break XRP out to the upside. But ultimately, if the big whales in the market want another opportunity to shake people out, that's what they're going to get because they are able to control these things. So you need to understand that this short-term noise is unavoidable to a certain degree. People can move these markets around the way they want, especially when liquidity is thin. Liquidity is pretty thin right now. We haven't had any major big announcements. We haven't had any big influxes into the cryptocurrency industry recently, and therefore it's pretty easy to move this market around. Now, these moves are typically very short term. If you've been in XRP for any amount of time, you've seen this before. You get that big red candle and then a big green candle, and you regain a lot of that momentum. It looks like XRP is stalling out at the current sell-off levels. We're going to cross our fingers that it stays there, but you just can't get shaken out if XRP drops a bit more. These things happen in these markets. The whales control it. Ultimately, as XRP gets larger, these types of games won't be able to be played, but it's the game being played right now, and it's just not a game you can really present any opposition to. The whales are going to control it. They're going to move things around. The best thing you can do to fight back is simply to hold and understand that this is just a short-term blip on the radar in comparison to where we're going over the long run. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I hope you enjoyed this update, and for now, Mickle out.